Hi, my name is Brooke Lippman,
And I'm Dr. Deb Lippman,
and this is Wine Together.
a podcast where we drink some wine and have a chat.
So sit back, relax, and get that corkscrew ready. Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, we have new cups. We won't be using these every week, but we want to shout out to Ren for that. These are our birthday gifts from Brooke's brother and my son, Ren. I like them. They're so big. We used half a bottle of wine and didn't even fill half the cup. But we want to tell you about our wine today. It is a rosé. I'm starting to really
I think
like.
we've had this one on the podcast before, but the bottle is different.
Correct. We've had the Mateus on the podcast before. Because, it's from Portugal. But yeah, the bottle is a world tour, and we absolutely love it. It's like stickers and flags from all over the world. And, we're loving it. You can see Denmark there, I know. We thought we'd kind of show off that bottle. Yeah, I like it. It's almost like collecting stickers at airports.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we're talking about. I can't believe how that just fed right into that. I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, it's like stickers that you collect and put all over your luggage, and that's kind of what we're, I collect stickers when I go places, and it's so funny because I don't know anyone else who collects stickers. They're getting expensive. Like they're $5 now. I mean, that used to be the thing you could get for $1. And now I'm speaking in terms of U.S. Postcards are more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you used to get a postcard for like 50 cents or whatever, and now they've gone way because we're not raving about that. We were going to talk about airplanes actually.
Yes.
Speaking of speaking of rich, it's so funny. I used to joke about wanting a private plane, right? But I just don't. I now I know better. I know that yes, it would be more convenient for me to go see my family and go see my kids if I had a private plane and a pilot. But I also know how bad that is for the environment. And so I wouldn't do it. And, we even joked about it after this trip because, my goodness gracious, we had not good experiences again. And it just seems like every flight I take lately, every flight I take, something happens.
Yeah, well, you have to remember, it's not about you.
I know that. I get it. I get that. And that's what I was telling you guys. I know this has nothing to do with me. So who else is experiencing this every time they take a flight? So I think that, there's got to be stories out there, not just mine. There's got to be stories out there of, my goodness, plane travel is just not what it used to be.
It's not. I mean...
It's not the way it used to be. In fact, it's worse in the past 4 years, I'm going to say, because I know our first few trips to the U.S. from Switzerland were not the nightmare that they have become. And I'm not joking. I was exhausted by the time I got home because the flight was delayed 4 hours from the start, which means we missed our connection. They promise us, don't get in this line, don't get in this line. We've got people working behind the scenes to get your connections made. But now I know why they don't want you in that line. They don't want to have to give something up. They don't want to have to compensate for the trauma they've caused you. And I mean, it was trauma because it caused me to fight with your dad. It caused me to be angry with everything. And I mean, I really could not control it. And it seemed like everything, like, we, when they rebooked us, they rebooked your dad twice and didn't, they rebooked both of us, but they only put your dad's name twice for boarding passes. And so your dad had, well, it's in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So your dad had 2 boarding passes. I had 0. So thank God we had 7 hours because, it took almost that much time. Not that I wanted 7 hours in an airport because I did not, especially having not slept and having, our whole body had to readjust. Your body has to readjust on the flight, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we didn't have the right boarding passes. I didn't have a boarding pass at all. Your dad ends up with 2. So we went to get that straightened out at the service counter. And then I said, is there a United service counter here? And the girl says, well, no. I said, so in other words, we're stuck in this airport. We don't even get a voucher, for food. So we're stuck here 7 hours. And we either pay out of pocket or well, I'll see what I can do. She comes back with 18 effing euros. Sorry.
That's it.
Trying not to say it. 18 euros each. That's not even a glass of wine, people.
No.
Do you not eat at the airport when you're stuck there? Evidently, you don't. You don't know. I mean, I thought and your dad, of course, tells me, don't get angry in front of them. And they've got these big signs now warning you that you can't talk bad to the customer service people. You can't treat your employees with disrespect. So you have to, really control yourself. And I was just like, 18 euros? I said, do you think we're going to eat with that? And I just walked off. Because, evidently I could have been arrested for saying that.
At airports, it's like they invite you to try and get upset at them. Because I've definitely, I have to say, when I'm at the airport, I'm usually pretty calm. I am usually a very calm, chill, whatever happens, happens.
I need medication for that.
But if I have to deal with people, sometimes it's just what is wrong with you? Like that one time a couple years ago when I was trying to go from frickin' Seattle back to Virginia, and they canceled every single flight into Dulles. And it was, by the time I got to Newark, I was in tears because I was so mad at them, right? Because they kept canceling all the flights and they didn't tell you why. They said, here's the thing, they said it was because of thunderstorms, but they let us fly to Reagan, plus you guys were there, so I knew it wasn't thunderstorms. Yeah, and they tried to blame it on weather the other night, and somebody called them out on it, because they used the excuse of that hurricane that's coming up the east. And somebody called them out on it, said, well, I've checked the weather radar, and actually the route you're going to be taking across the Atlantic, there are no storms. So then all of a sudden it was an air conditioner problem. So, I get that they don't want to compensate however many people they stuff on an airplane. You know what? They don't stuff that many people on an airplane. If you know something's going to go wrong, and also the billions of dollars that you make in profit, I don't feel sorry that you have to compensate. Yeah, because they don't even use that money to create the planes. I was watching an episode of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and it was about Boeing. And Boeing used to be stressed safety. Like the guy who owned it back in the 70s and 80s said he'd rather kill himself than lose these safety measures. And now when they merged with the company back in the 80s that they bought, the other airplane, the other airplane,
that was...
It was Macmillan or something like that.
Oh, okay, I don't know.
They just completely skimped on all the safety measures. So the money that they get to, make sure that the planes are safe is not being used for that.
And I have to say that safety should be number one. Okay, so I was having this conversation with a friend of ours as when we were in the U.S. And, I told her, I said, I really only have one rule with my kids. Come home. That means Make smart choices and be safe. Be safe, be safe, be safe. Come home. That's the rule. I know, because you need to make your own decisions about stuff. You want to try something, I can't tell you what to do. I don't necessarily want you to learn from your mistakes. I'd rather you learn from my mistakes, but that's honestly not teaching you anything. And so my only rule is come home. Every time. I don't care what kids, we all do stupid stuff. But you got to, in the back of your mind, it's always got to be, look, I got to get home. My mom said that's the one rule. So, and I was saying that to your dad's friend, which I guess I'm calling her my friend too. But they were friends first. And I said, it's just, that's all we can do as parents, right? Is stress that. And so I was trying my darndest to get home and follow my own rule, and it just was not made easy by air travel.
Yeah.
We thought this was the safest, easiest, fastest way, but I don't know. Unfortunately, there are no boats that cross the Atlantic the way airplanes do. Or we would try to figure out something else.
Also, it would take way too long.
It would take a long time.
It's like, but also that would be way more expensive because there's so many, like.
Now that's a real safety concern because they're actually in the water.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But flying over.
You hope your airplane's not in the water.
Yeah. Yeah. You do. You really do. But, I think airplanes, I guarantee that I appreciate that story that you told me about a former owner of an airplane builder that safety was a priority.
He was like being that intense to be like.
What's that?
Being that intense to be like, I'd rather kill myself. That's a lot.
That is, and you know what? It says a lot about a person. Another thing of mine is care and respect, and that just shows care without having to say I care. It shows care. So I know I appreciate that former owner of Boeing. You said that was on.
I think
John Oliver's.
Yeah, he was talking about it on John Oliver, but I think it wasn't necessarily. I think it was the guy that created Boeing. Okay. But I can't remember exactly. It was a couple days ago that I watched.
Maybe we can look that up. Throw that in the show notes.
I can rewatch that.
Yeah, that would be great. Let me know.
It's on YouTube, so.
Okay. Everything's on YouTube.
I've been watching a lot of John Oliver recently.
He's classic.
He's really funny.
He's so funny. But he's funny with the truth, or at least some person's perspective. Okay, so the truth. That's so funny because facts are facts. Okay, and we can find truth in facts. But you know what? And that's vital. But there's also truth in people's perspective. When it if it's true to them, yes, it kind of is opinion. But if you grew up with this perspective, to look at things a certain way, there's truth in that until somebody teaches you and you actually find for yourself that something's different. To me, you can find truth in it. But I think his truth is always funny.
Yeah.
So, and I like to laugh. I'd much rather laugh than cry.
I know.
I cry a lot.
And at least though, I have to say, because I was watching it on the big TV before. I'd been pulling up YouTube on the big TV. To watch it. I'm really glad I was not in the middle of watching John Oliver when the TV just stopped working.
Yeah, it would have been sad.
But it was still funny just because of the timing.
Yeah.
Oh,
well.
That's really funny.
Yeah. I always thought the TV would give you time to get used to its slow fading death.
No.
Evidently, new televisions don't do that. And even though this was not new.
It's not a new television.
It's not new. But still, it's the new style. It's the television of,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
It's one of those, the first ever smart TVs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, smart TVs were just becoming a thing when we got
Yes.
that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We did. We got it for your dad for Christmas, and yeah, and I didn't. You know, I just thought it would be like the old tube boxes, and it evidently it's not.
Well, I mean, the picture quality had been going down for a while.
Okay.
Right. I mean, like, we noticed that, like, last season when Real Madrid had the orange shirts and they looked yellow.
Yes. Yeah. I guess the
Yeah.
color. Yeah.
So, like, that was the biggest one. Like, anything orange looked yellow, like, that we noticed. But yeah, no, I was just watching TV, sitting on the couch, nowhere near the remotes or anything, and all of a sudden it just shuts off. During SVU, at the like parts where there's supposed to be commercials, but it's on Netflix, so there's no commercials, so the screen was already black. It just didn't turn back on.
It just there it is. It's gone. So yeah. Your dad's in the middle of researching. So yeah, I did some shopping while I was there, and so you come back and the airplanes again. Back to the airplanes. You could only your luggage could only weigh so much. Well, my luggage is starting to fall apart. And so I was saying that, maybe this will be the time we go back and I'll get new luggage. And, your dad didn't say no, but he didn't say yes to it. And so when I was there, I didn't look for new luggage, even though I wanted to come back with new luggage because anyway, of course, all my zippers. I have one zipper that's completely will not zip now. I got one zipper that's completely open and won't. I don't even have
that. Could be on TSA because they did that to one of my old suitcases.
Yes,
they broke my zipper.
I'm not even finished. Not even finished.
Mm-hmm.
Also, in a big one, the pulls, the pull tabs on my zippers are gone, and they were not gone when I left here.
No,
they were gone. Anyway, they're gone.
It was TSA. I can guarantee you they absolutely do not give a crap about your luggage.
I've watched them throw it. I watched them one time roll. I was watching from the window, and I took a video of it. They were rolling the big ones towards the little ones like they were bowling balls, and laughed about it. Celebrated when they knocked the little ones over. So, yeah, I know 100% because I watched it. So, they're going to argue and say, that's not true.
No.
We train our people better than that. Blah, 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 blah. You know what? When you don't pay somebody a living wage, they're going to do what the heck they want.
Yeah.
Whether you train them not to or not. They're just going to do what they want. And you know what? They don't care if you fire them. And why should they care? They can find another job making just the same amount of pity pay. Or pitiful pay, I should say, not pity pay, pitiful pay, because that's what that's what we have out there. We don't have people. It's not even the people. It's more, the experience that they're having in life. Jesus, it's just yeah. We definitely are. We're living in the world that was always my biggest fear when I was a kid. When I was a kid, and learning, going through school, all the things that we're indoctrinated with in our public school system, you're kind of taught to accept, capitalism, and I think this was probably 7th grade or might have been 8th grade social studies that you're taught about this. And, you learn about, this kind of scale of what it takes to, kind of move out of the middle class if you want to move into the rich. And I remember my teacher, my sister and I were just talking about this teacher when we were together. And he said, you're going to have to be okay with stepping over people as you climb up that ladder. You're going to have to be okay with stepping on people as you climb up that ladder. It just takes a certain personality to really get rich. And you know what? It's not a kind personality a lot of times. And so I remember that, and like I said, Angie and I were talking about this. It's just, it shouldn't be that way. It just shouldn't be that way. And
there also shouldn't be billionaires in the world.
No, there shouldn't be.
There shouldn't even really be, like, millionaires.
Well, no, people want to make $1 million. That's kind of everybody's goal. When I was a kid, that was the goal, make $1 million. And it didn't matter if it made it overtime, blah, blah, blah. That was your goal.
Well, yeah, but if you're making $1 million, like, every month,
Yeah, pay your
That's
taxes. That's all I gotta say.
ridiculous.
Pay your taxes. Pay your fair share.
Share the wealth.
Yeah.
Because
so,
there's people who literally, yeah, no.
But anyway, what I was saying was when I was a kid, I knew there was going to be a time in life that there was going to be just I always thought it would just be one person. Turns out it's like four. We're going to take all the wealth. We're going to find a way to eat up small companies and make it one big company. And we were warned against monopolies. We learned about that. We learned, that you don't want that in a society because that one person then has everything. And then they have all the power.
When Monopoly was first created, it was actually a warning sign against monopolies.
Absolutely. And you know what? And it's so funny because guess who I become when I play that game? The mean, powerful person that wants it all. And so I don't like playing that game.
It was so funny when you were saying that your microphone was completely red.
Oh, I'm sure. Because I was a mean.
Well, that's not why it changes colors.
I know. But I'm saying I don't play that game well. And you know what? Because when I was growing up and we played it as a kid, I was taught to be that person. No, you have to win like this. This is how you win this game. And it's so funny because, look, my microphone is at the bottom of my necklace. It looks like it's my necklace. So I'm going to move a little so that doesn't. Maybe I should move my microphone a little. Okay. But yeah, that's exactly what I was taught. The people that taught me to play that game taught me the ruthless, and that is the word. I'm pretty sure they use that word, and so anyway, so I don't like to play it. I don't like who I become when I play it, and I absolutely, your brother Mason and I were talking about this. He was talking about he thinks it's kind of funny that I still expect good customer service. And I do. Everywhere I go, if I go to a restaurant, if I go to a store, if I'm kind to you and I'm asking in a kind way, I expect you to reciprocate in a kind way. And guess what? I rarely get that. Yesterday, when I was so tired, so exhausted, and really felt like the airlines had just treated us like crap. We went to get something to eat, even though we didn't get help with that. We went to get something to eat, and the lady was kind of rushing, so I was trying to slow her down. So I spoke in a softer, slower tone, hoping that she would kind of, calm down. And she said, "Y'all can sit here." And she starts taking stuff off the table, and she motioned for us to come sit down. I said, "Oh, no, it's okay. I can wait till you wipe the table off." Was that rude? I didn't say.
Know.
Okay, see?
I think it seems to some people it would be rude because it's like you're saying, "Oh, it's not clean."
Well, it wasn't clean.
But yeah, so I mean that's.
But I didn't say, "Well, you need to wipe the table first." I didn't say that.
Yeah, was it like someone that worked there?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, they need to clean the table.
And so she said, "I was getting to that." Well, how were you getting to that if I was going to sit down there?
Yeah, if you're going to sit there, that doesn't make sense.
You're not getting to. And so I said, "Okay," and I just waited.
She just wanted to be rude then.
And then she is trying to rush us to order. Well, we hadn't seen the menu. And so we were looking through the menu. I was trying to make sure that before I ordered, everything was going to be the way I want. Because, I don't like it when, don't give me a picture on a menu. Don't give me a list of ingredients on a menu if you're not going to do it that way. So I made sure everything was supposed to be the way that, I wanted it. So, she kept coming back. And finally she said, "So your dad orders a beer." And I didn't want a beer. And thank goodness, because the glasses were like as big as this one. And I'm not joking. And so I said, "Oh, I just want something like lemonade or something." And she said, "Oh, you want the ginger lemonade?" And I was like, "No, I don't think I want the ginger lemonade." And that she's showing me the lemonades. Well, they all had all this crap in them that just did not sound good in lemonade. She says, "I can just get you the ginger lemonade." What did I do? I gave in. I let someone else make that decision for me. I took the ginger lemonade and it tasted like nasty water. And I like ginger. So it's weird. And so I said, I don't like it. And then I started to cry when she finally left. And I said, why do I do this? Why do I let people talk me into stuff? And your dad said, you don't let people talk you into. I said, I let you talk me into stuff. You know, constantly. I don't do what I want to do. And when I do what I want to do, everyone says I'm rude. When I stand up for myself, everyone says I'm being rude. So, you know, I feel like I just can't win. So I didn't drink the lemonade. She comes back. She sits down beside your dad. Like right on.
Okay, see that she was just a bad server.
And
she was just bad at her job.
So she sits and she says, you don't like the lemonade? I said, I don't like it. She said, can I get you something else? I said, I don't want anything else. I said, because I don't want you to charge me for something else. I said, we're already paying €6 for this lemonade. I don't want to be charged for anything else. She says, oh, no. She says, I said, I just want some water. She got mad and walked off.
Yeah.
Because I asked for water. And then she says, she comes back like 5 minutes later. Well, by this time, you know, I thought she'd forgotten that I asked for water. She says, do you want still or with gas? And I said, I just want still water.
I think this person was just particularly bad at being a server. I don't think it has anything to do with like servers in general, because in my experience, I haven't really had that many. Only like once I've had a bad server, and it was when we went to the food truck festival in Addisholtz. Remember that guy was so rude to me.
He was awful.
He was nice to you and Dad. He was so rude to me. I was like, what is your problem?
Yeah. I just, you know, I feel like he was a little impatient with me.
At me.
Yeah. Well, I had that experience somewhere this past 3 weeks. I had experience where somebody walked off and laughed at me or laughed about me. And I turned to your dad and said, are they laughing at me? And of course he says, no. He always thinks, he swears everybody in the world has good intentions.
No.
And I'm telling you, my experience has not been that. I think there are a lot of people that have good intentions. I think there are a lot of kind people out there. And, you know.
You notice the not good people more.
Well, that's what Mason was saying. The fact that you still expect customer service.
It's because you've had a lot of good customer service.
And he says that's just not the way it is anymore. Because one, these people are working jobs where they know they're not getting paid. They know they are the bottom of the barrel. So why in the world would they do something to help some CEO look good because his profits are getting higher? Yeah. So no, they know that they're one of the ones doing the work. And no, they're not going to make it easy for a company to look good. It's not their role. No. And so people have kind of, you know, taken that and said, screw that. No. And I get that. Trust me, I've worked those jobs. I have worked those jobs. But I was also that person because I did what I was told. You know, you go above and beyond and you'll be the one they look to for management positions and this, that, and the other. And you know what? I never was. No. So I would work those hours. I came in anytime they called me. When I was off shift and they called me because somebody else called in, I never called in
that's
sick.
What you don't want to do that.
And
because that's not how you get promoted. It's you do less work so that when you do good work, that occasionally they see that. And they're like, oh, okay, this person could be promoted. You can't do all the work and let them rely on you because they will never move you up if you do that.
Yeah, because they can't. They know they're not going to get somebody else in that position. They know you're the only one doing that. And I have to say, you know, but I did expect good service from a flight attendant. And
I've also met some rude flight attendants.
Very rude, very rude. And on our first flight to the U.S. This is gonna really get in your craw, and I'm sorry. So they're serving the meal, and you know, of course, you know us. We're sitting way at the back because you know ain't gonna pay for a seat. We're way at the back, and of course they're running out of food, and so. But then she says, "Oh well, we have mushroom risotto." I said, "Oh, that sounds good." I wanted a vegetarian option anyway, but they had ran out of their. This is weird, right? They ran out of the vegetarian option. They only had one chicken left, so of course your dad gets that. And then I said, "Oh, I'd love to have the mushroom risotto." So of course, you know, they move on, and you know, I ate the salad first. And so I was taking my time with the salad and blah, blah, blah. I opened it up and it does look like brown gravy on like something. It looked like melted cheese. Of course, you can't see your food on the airlines.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably on purpose.
Yeah.
And so I start to eat it and I said, oh, it's potatoes. And so then I ate something in the brown gravy that I thought was a mushroom. Beef.
I know that is so bad because there are.
I thought I'm going to be sick. I would get sick from this because I haven't eaten beef in a long, long time.
I cannot eat beef. We have seen what happens when I eat beef.
I knew I was going to be in that bathroom.
There are people with anaphylactic allergies to beef.
Yes.
That is so incredibly dangerous
they flat
to not
out
tell you.
Exactly. Yes,
that is a liability on them, and you can get compensation for if you were to get incredibly sick. You should be able to get
I was in the
compensation
bathroom a few times.
I mean,
I feel sorry for who had to go in here after me.
That's different. But I mean, like, if you genuinely, like, I get so sick, I'm vomiting. Yeah. And genuinely, it is a known allergy. Well, not allergy, but it's a known issue.
And I didn't. Now, look, I took 3 bites of it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to be sick. I can't eat this. I'm going to be sick. And so I didn't eat that meal. And then, so on the way back, on the flight back, you know, after all the horrendous way that it went, you'd think they'd serve us first class food. The least they could do is serve us food. They ran out of chicken. And so, and they ran out, of course, in the row in front of us. And so I just said, you know what, just give me a tray without an entree. Just give me the salad and bread. I don't care. And so the girl said, are you sure? I said, I'm sure. This is another thing. Don't ask me if I'm sure. What did I say? Did you not hear? I can't stand that. Okay, so then she comes back. She says, we have a pasta. And I thought, well, why didn't you offer me that? I said, okay, I'll take the pasta.
Oh my God, is it?
It was horrendous. It was so nasty.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's like overcooked pasta. So it was like really soft. And it kind of like, you would call it melt in your mouth if you want to be nice, but I wouldn't. It fell apart on your fork is what it did. And so, and the sauce was nasty. There was, you know, I even tried salt and pepper on it. I tried to make it. And I was like, I took 2 bites of that and I was like, can't eat it. So it's 2 meals that, you know, I probably paid for those nasty meals. Sorry, why'd you take that? I probably paid for those meals, and you know what? I didn't get to eat them because, and I'm really, really, really bothered by the beef one. So bothered by that because I thought of you. I thought, oh my gosh, if
I would have been throwing up the entire time.
Because you would have thought, oh, a risotto, a mushroom risotto.
Did you hear the story about the people having to deboard the plane because there's a lady throwing up in the bathroom?
No.
Like, they would have had to turn the plane around. That's how bad I would have been throwing up from the beef. Like, they would, or at least have, like, some emergency landing.
Well, you would have been like me and not eaten it. I mean, you wouldn't have eaten it.
If I took a bite of it, I still would have gotten sick from it.
And I took the first bite, and I was like, oh, God, that's beef.
But I also might not have noticed it, because I don't know that much.
That texture, it definitely was not mushroom. And that's why.
Yeah, but I wouldn't know it was beef.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I haven't, like, tasted, like, beef in a long time. Yeah. And I don't think it would have tasted like what we had on Easter, which is what really sealed the deal for, no more beef.
Yeah. What did we do for Easter?
We had the beef, roast, whatever. The big rump, whatever, of beef.
Gosh, I don't even remember that. I'm so sorry. I thought it was
okay. But, I mean, I wasn't, like, throwing up from that one, but I throw up from ground beef.
Right,
but if I keep eating it...
Yeah, it's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse.
Yeah, because it changes your gut. It changes the biome in your gut. Just to let you know, people. It definitely is going to change the biome in your gut. And so, if you know you have these allergies, don't chance it. And you know what? There's going to be some people in the world say, oh, well, you know, you need to try it again.
There are some ways.
You don't need to. If you don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, be true to yourself.
For certain allergies that are like, oh, like, I can't do it, there are ways to introduce it slowly to your system so that it doesn't cause, like, and you can do therapies for those, but that's usually for if you're a kid.
But you also do that under the supervision of a doctor.
Yeah.
You don't do that at home because your partner or, you know, a parent tells you that.
Yeah.
You stand your ground on that one, people.
But
I don't care if you stand your ground on that.
I would have made a huge fuss on the beef thing. If I ended up throwing up in the bathroom, because I probably would have taken the bathroom up for, like, the whole flight.
Yeah.
Because it's a 7-hour flight. The last time I had ground beef, I was throwing up in the bathroom for probably 3 or 4 hours.
I was so angry, and I thought to myself, this was, and unfortunately, okay, so when you first meet your flight attendants, you know who you don't want serving your food and drinks, right? I mean, they tell you right away if they're going to be kind or not. Well, this woman was not kind. She was kind to the men. She was not kind to any woman that I saw. And I thought, oh, she's one of those. Okay, and I'm sorry, there are still women out there like that. There are men out there like that. And so, and of course the men say, why are you reacting to her like that? She's so nice. To you, fool. She's nice to you. So anyway, she was like this one man, she was just kind of all over him. Trying to do just to make him comfortable when he first got on the airplane. Didn't care that he was taking up space in the aisle and not letting people get through. Oh, no, he could just do any old thing. So I knew that I didn't want her on my side, but I knew that since she was on that side closing the little overhead compartments, I thought, oh, God, she's going to be the one serving my wine. She's going to be serving and then when she came around and, by the time they get to us, they've had it with people. They get to the back of the plane and they've had enough whiners and complainers that you better not be one of them. And so, like I said, I was trying so hard to be kind and nice and thank you for everything. Even though they weren't nice, I still thanked them for everything. And you know what? I hate it when I have to do that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to thank an angry person, a nasty person, but I do.
Yeah, I mean.
Because you have to, because you know what? Otherwise they're going to spit in your drink.
Well, no, but also because you don't want to just keep fueling the fire.
Well, that's
if they're
true.
already upset and then you're rude to them. If you're rude to them, they're already upset. It's just going to make things worse. Like, you're not helping anyone by instigating anything or just poking the bear,
Yeah, thank you for saying that. That is a very good way to see it. And you know what? I've never looked at it that way.
Yeah, always. I mean, just in general, just be nice to people.
I agree. But yeah, I just the whole beef that I say. I looked at your dad. I said, "Did you say mushroom?" Your dad said, "Is that not mushroom?" Because we couldn't look. You couldn't look at it till, and I poured it all the way out of the gravy.
What about
and I said, "You try it." And he said, "Oh no."
Because the lid always tells you what it is.
Oh, that's how I found out what it was.
Oh, you didn't look at the lid first?
Well, not before I opened it because I trusted. Again, I trusted them.
Oh, I don't.
I trusted them. And so I opened it. One, I was excited.
Yeah.
A mushroom risotto? Are you kidding me? I love it.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I feel special.
You can make some mushroom risotto.
We're going to have to because something's got to make up for that. But I was really excited thinking, oh, wow, this, I've never had that one. I was so excited. So excited. And then so when I tasted it and I tasted the texture and I looked at it, I was like, Todd, I think this is beef. And he said, are you sure? And that's when we looked at the lid. And so I took another bite of it and I said, I can't do it. I'm going to be sick. I said, I think just thinking about the fact that she lied to me is making me sick. And then I thought, one more, and I thought, I can't do it. I can't do it. So I had to put the whole thing away. I couldn't even eat the potatoes and gravy, which I love mashed potatoes and gravy. But I just couldn't do it because I kept thinking, I'm going to be sick from this beef.
Yeah.
Because, it's one thing to eat beef, but I need to trust the source. And I didn't feel like I could trust that source of beef. And so I was pretty angry about that.
I think just airplanes shouldn't have red meat in general because chicken is a little bit, like if you're going to have a meat option, I think chicken is the best bet because most people can eat chicken.
Yeah.
And at that point, if you can't eat chicken, you probably can't eat red meat either.
Right.
So I honestly, I don't understand why they even bother with red meat.
Yeah. But you know what? Just to let you know, Airlines, a mushroom would be a great idea. Mushroom in place of a meat.
It is.
Portobello mushrooms. That's what
they usually do for the vegetarian.
Good. There's so many good options for safe mushrooms. Yeah. And, I think is a good option.
Yeah.
Just watch the sport. Yes, everything you serve, you need to make sure it's a good source of safe food.
No, every time I get food on the airplane, I have to check the lid first. I don't trust them.
Well, I unfortunately did trust them, and I was so excited.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh my gosh, this is exciting, but no. So anyway, I unfortunately I didn't have a lot of good things to say about airlines and airplanes.
No, Again, I mean, most of my flights have been really good. Like, I've had mostly good experiences. I've only had a few bad. Like, that one time that the flight attendant almost didn't serve me and the lady next to me, but served the lady on the outside. But she had ordered a meal ahead of time, I think.
Yeah, so.
So, she just didn't want to serve us, and she was very rude about it. Like, we did nothing to that lady. And honestly, it's such a good thing I was sitting next to a Dutch lady. Because I never would have said anything.
Yeah. I think that my problem is because I never complain after it's over with. I try to forget it.
Yeah.
And I think that with having 4 or 5 experiences in a row with the same airline, I think I'm going to have to say something.
It's the airline. In that
case, and so...
Which also, that airline specifically.
You know, and it's so bad because, like one time we were actually turning around and nobody on the plane noticed it but me because I always watch the flight path.
Oh, me too. I love watching that.
I watch the flight path and I write in my journal or read a book. And so I was watching the flight path. This was last year in June when I was coming back here. And we were turning around at Boston. And I was like, instead of kind of like turning right and going across the Atlantic Ocean, we kind of turned left and we're headed back, looked like we were headed back to D.C. And I thought, okay. And I had thought I had smelled something like fire. But I thought, okay, I'm just going to chalk that up to my imagination. Because, you know, I knew I wasn't getting warm air.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew I was getting warm air, not cool air. And I also thought I was smelling something smoky and fiery. And anyway, turns around, we were actually turning around. They didn't tell us till we were almost back. So that was rude. But anyway, I'm saying, here's what I want from an airline. I want kindness no matter what. Leave your problems at home. I had to do jobs like that. I had to leave my problems at home.
Honestly, with those long flights, flight attendants get time in the back to decompress.
Yes.
So just leave it in the back.
And you know what? You work in partners. You work in teams. So tell a team member, say, this person, I need help with this person. You work as a team. Don't take it all on yourself. And because this is, my problem is you know, it's stressful enough for some people to fly. They really need the kindness of the crew to kind of get them through it. And then don't lie. Don't ever lie to a passenger. And I've had, unfortunately, people not be honest and tell the truth. And as far as the food goes, like you said, that could have been life-threatening.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, you know, just because I don't eat beef. It could have been life-threatening. Fortunately, it wasn't for me. But it could have been for somebody else. And that, to me, I could not get over that. The whole flight. And now you know, I still had 6 hours to fly. And I could not get over the fact that they could have killed somebody on that plane by lying to them about what was in the dish. And yes, you're right. It was on me for not reading it ahead of time.
Yeah, but also again, it was mislabeled.
Right.
I mean, in that case, I guess it wouldn't be on the flight attendant.
Then it wouldn't be on the flight attendant. But this one was on her.
That's,
you know,
yeah.
And she was mean anyway to me because she didn't like girls. It didn't seem like. But you know, like I said, I try to be nice to people and it just, you know, I don't know, it just didn't work out. But anyway, I will try again because I want to see my kids again. So I don't know, but I think you know, screw the fact that I have all these miles. Screw it. I'll let them go because I think we need to try to find another airline. We've been faithful to this one for, 10 years. We've been faithful to this airline, and I'm going to have to give it up.
I mean, unfortunately, there's not that many great airlines.
Right.
So.
Right, and that's another thing about
They're
monopolies.
just getting worse as they
right, because they don't have to give you good customer service because they know if you're going to do this, if you're going to choose this mode of transportation, you just have to deal with it.
Yeah. Anyway.
I know. But anyway, we hope you enjoyed listening. Sorry if I was complaining too much.
We'll be back next week with a new bottle of wine and a new topic. In the meantime, if you want to join the conversation, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Wine Together Pod. Follow our Instagram or Facebook page. Follow our Facebook page, Wine Together Podcast. And if you don't want to miss out on our regular weekly episodes, along with all our bonus content, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, as well as liking, subscribing, and commenting on our YouTube, Wine Together Podcast.